with Soleman. The next chapter is Bigfoot. So let's get started. Perry and Oedipus were taking a day off, spending the day in the vast wilderness that surrounded Arch County. They were doing some nature detective work for the fun of it. To keep their skills sharp, they were tracking various animals using the paw prints as guides. Having spent the morning on such adventures, they were resting on a stump going over their progress so far. I think we're doing pretty well. The fox was probably our hardest quarry, though. Perry agreed. Problem is, they don't stay grounded. Leaping over and above, climbing the branches, and changing their route 20 times makes them a difficult chase. A distant sound caught their attention. On the breeze came the sound of someone or something in trouble. Perry leaned a bit to his side to see if he could catch the sound clearer. Pulling two wide shoehorns out, he banded them together to create a cone to amplify the sounds. It seemed to be a cross between a grunt and a whimper, deep and rumbling one moment, then shrill and plaintive the next. Curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to seek out the creator of these sounds. Oedipus created his own shoehorn ear trumpet and stationed himself far apart from Perry. They walked a short distance, stopped, listened, and depending on who heard the loudest sound, they would mark that point, separate on either side of the mark, and continue. Thus, they were attempting a makeshift triangulation to the best of their ability. It made slow progress, but as they moved, they adjusted for angle of movement so that eventually they were behind the creature and moving forward. Perry's only concern was that the beast might reverse course and suddenly come upon them. If it was aggressive, they would be in trouble having a limited arsenal of equipment handy. As the beast stopped and started, they came upon areas where they could deduce that the beast was finding sustenance as it traveled. Berries here, dug up carrots and other root plants there seemed to be either vegetarian or had a balanced diet and of sufficient intelligence that it knew where to find food and how much to leave so it had a continual supply. An area near a river gave them the first indication of the type of beast they were trailing. Their expectation of some sort of ursidide, or day, or bear-like creature was dispelled when the print was more of the foot of a human. But what a human! The size of the foot was well over a foot in length, the pad wide and the depth deep. This creature was not only huge, but heavy. Perry was squatting over a very clear imprint of the foot in question. There were indications of pain of some sort in the way the print was angled. Oedipus was on the opposite side of the print using a magnifying glass. He was telling us his impressions as he found them. It almost seems to be walking toe-heel instead of heel-toe. The creature has overgrown and turned down toenails. They must be slightly bending upwards with each step. They're rolling as they walk, trying to reduce pressure as much as possible. Perry added his observations. I suggest they have bone spurs. The arch is low, and trying to carry this amount of weight has to be painful for them. With the toenails being, as you observed, overly long and bending downwards over the toes, there can be no doubt that his stride would be much shorter than it usually would be. They try to walk as much between toe and heel as they can, and only on the balls of their feet. Both men rose onto their elbows and stretched their necks. Oedipus rose higher into a sitting position and brought his ear trumpet up. I don't hear anything. Either they have reached home or a voice deep and rasping came from behind them. Or they are sitting on a stump behind you. The rumbling bass was laughing at the startled looks from the two men as they leapt to their feet. Afternoon, gentlemen, he continued, chuckling. Oedipus stammered out a hello, and Perry bowed graciously. Good afternoon. The huge beast waited for them to join him. Holding out a vast hand, he introduced himself. The name's Todd. Well, I'd tell you my actual name, but I doubt you'd be able to pronounce it. He paused, then grunted. Oh, hell, it's... He let out a roar that modulated and was almost a song, so much did it go up and down the scale. He looked at them to see if they would at least try and articulate his name. Both shook their head. We wouldn't want to insult you by pronouncing it badly. Hell, we might change from your name into cursing for all we know. Todd laughed and slapped his thigh. Yeah, you guys are all right. Not like the others who come out looking for me and my family. Damn insult and an invasion of privacy, if you ask me. Oh, by the way, you're right about my foot problems. He extended his feet in front of him. Perry started to rise, but turned and asked permission to make an examination first. Would you mind if I look at your feet? Todd shrugged and waved his hand. Go ahead. Might smell a bit, though. Perry crouched over the large feet, gently prodding here and there and asking questions about where they hurt and what type of pain it was. In the end, he pulled out a pair of scissor clippers and trimmed the nails back to above the toes. A sigh of relief escaped Todd's lips. That's a heck of a lot better, thanks. Perry handed them over so that Todd could help any of his family with a similar problem. Rinsing his hands off in the stream, he came back, looking thoughtful. Do me a favor and keep your feet out for a second. Reaching into his pack, he produced a tape measure and pad. Noting down the dimensions, he made quick calculations. Well, you're about size 37 double D and a slip-on tennis shoe. Todd shrugged, knowing full well there wasn't a shoe store in existence that could help him. Barry pulled out his portable sandal flip phone and put in a call to the International Shoe Company. Aware of their unique assistance to someone with large feet, he knew they could help. Once connected, he inquired if they had shoes of a comparable size to the ones worn by Robert Wadlow, the world's tallest man. They still had a few sneakers they had made for him, but never delivered. Certainly they could be widened easily, and as for delivering, they could be in Perry's hands the following day. Perry would make some minor adjustments once he had them. Dad, I don't know how you're going to feel about wearing shoes, but I have a pair coming that will fit you. I'll dye them so they match your hair. That way they won't be conspicuous. I'll put in some arch supports and have them out here tomorrow night. Where can we meet you? Todd looked around and went, why not here? I usually do a bit of fishing in the evening, so I'll be here anyways. He looked down at the two men with tears in his eyes. I don't know how to thank you for what you're doing for me. You can think of anything. I'm in your debt. Brushing aside a tear, he stumbled towards the river's edge and began to fish. Perry and Oedipus spent the next day waiting for the arrival of the shoes and then adjusting them for their prospective owner. Oedipus created the arch supports from Perry's measurements since he had experience in metalworking as a hobby. Covering the interior with foam and cloth made them comfortable to wear without socks. Perry's dye job was a masterful artistry and matched the multicolored patterns of Todd's hair perfectly, especially since most of the shoes would be covered by the long hair anyways. That evening, they went to the same location they had met Todd at. Sure enough, he was there fishing again. When he heard them approaching, he leapt up only to fall again in anguish. Sitting in the dirt, he looked at his two companions fleetingly, hoping they could end his pain. The large box under their arms gave him confidence that maybe they could. Perry pulled out the first sneaker and fitted it carefully. The next followed, and both men assisted Todd to rise. He took a tentative step, and then another. A broad grin bisected his face. He took a few trotting steps and jumped. He could barely feel any pain at all. Overjoyed, he grabbed Perry and Oedipus in a bear hug. Trying to think of a way to thank these two, he asked if either of them had a camera. Oedipus brought out an old Argus with a timer on it. Placing it on a stump and having Perry and Oedipus stand on some rocks, they took a picture for posterity. The three parted on the best of terms with mutual friendship and respect. Todd invited them to meet his family, and Perry promised to help any of them who needed it. Riding back to the shoebox to develop the pictures, Oedipus regretted that the only paper which would likely print it was the Weekly World News. Hell, that's okay, pal. It'll hang on our wall and we'll know about it. And that was where it did hang, in a place of prominence. Soon an accompanying picture was added with Perry and Oedipus seated in front of with Todd's large family, all seated around them. So that's it for today. Next one is the Big Toe Strikes. So that's it for Soleman, the Healed Avenger. I look forward to seeing you again on our next reading. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. A little different. And I look forward to seeing you on our next reading. So be good yourself. Take care. Bye.